There's a single hill on planet Earth that has sparked more conflict, more devotion, and more prophecy than any other place. It's where three world religions converge, but its true story, its real identity, well, that's a secret that's been hiding in plain sight, and most of us have it all wrong. This is the story of Beit al-Maqdas, the Holy House.
So, you've seen the images, right? That breathtaking golden dome dominating the Jerusalem skyline. But what are you actually looking at? When people say Al-Aqsa, are they talking about the building with the silver dome? Or the whole compound? It's the first, most crucial question we have to answer. And believe me, the answer changes everything.
Okay, let's break this down once and for all. The term Beit al-Maqdas refers to the entire 35 acres sacred area you see here. Now, inside this space, there are two world-famous buildings. That magnificent golden dome, that's the Dome of the Rock. And the building with the silver gray dome, that is Masjid al-Aqsa. The key thing to remember is they are all part of one single sacred complex, Beit al-Maqdas.
So here's our roadmap. We'll look at the hill's different names, then travel back to the very first holy house. We'll trace its journey from a temple to a mosque, unpack the modern standoff, and finally, think about what a shared future could even look like.
To understand what's happening today, we have to go way back. Way back to the very beginning. Long before there were walls and empires, this site was considered sacred. Its story literally begins at the dawn of faith itself. According to Islamic tradition, the foundations of this place were actually laid by angels, just 40 years after the Kaaba was built in Mecca. But its story really enters human history with one single towering figure, Prophet Ibrahim, or as you might know him, Abraham. It was right here, on this land, that he affirmed his covenant with God, becoming the spiritual father to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This is the common ground.
Fast forward a few centuries, Prophet David, King David, makes Jerusalem his capital. But it was his son, Sulemani, or Solomon, who would build something truly legendary, the first temple, Haykal Sulemani. It was said to be so magnificent, so otherworldly, that Islamic sources say Prophet Suleiman actually commanded the jinn, these unseen beings of smokeless fire, to help him build it.
And at the very heart of this temple, inside its most sacred chamber, lay probably the most mysterious and powerful object in religious history, the Taboot Sakina, known to the world as the Ark of the Covenant. The Quran describes what was inside as a source of profound divine reassurance, basically a direct link between heaven and earth.
So what was inside this thing? Not just relics, we're talking about foundational miracles. The actual stone tablets of the Ten Commandments given directly to Prophet Moses, the staff of his brother, Aaron, a symbol of divine power, and even a jar of manna, that miraculous food sent from the heavens. Finding this wouldn't just be an archaeological discovery, it would literally change the world.
But here's the mystery. When the first temple was destroyed, the Ark just vanished from history. The theories about where it is are just epic. Is it hidden in a secret chamber deep beneath this very hill? Was it smuggled to Ethiopia, where local tradition swears it's protected? Or is it locked away in the vaults of the Vatican? It is, without a doubt, history's greatest cold case.
The loss of the Ark. Wow, that marked the end of a major chapter. But it wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. The history of this hill became this relentless, incredible cycle of destruction and rebirth, with each new empire, each new faith, leaving its own mark on the sacred stone.
And this timeline just perfectly illustrates that cycle. Look at this. From the Babylonians destroying the first temple, to the Romans leveling the second temple, from the miraculous night journey of the Prophet Muhammad to the peaceful entry of Caliph Umar, and then the bloody arrival of the Crusaders, this place was in constant dramatic change.
The Second Temple, built on the ruins of the first, was turned into an absolute wonder of the ancient world by Herod. Now for Christians, this spot is sanctified because it's where Jesus, Prophet Isa, walked, taught, and even predicted its destruction, forever weaving it into the heart of the Christian faith.
And just as he prophesied, in 70 AD the Romans razed it to the ground. Of that entire glorious structure, only a single outer retaining wall survived. Today, we know it as the Western Wall. It's the most sacred site in Judaism for prayer, a powerful reminder of both deep loss and unbreakable faith.
For Muslims, the sanctity of this site was sealed forever by a miracle, the Isra and Miraj. This was the Prophet Muhammad's miraculous night journey from Mecca to this exact spot. Islamic tradition holds that right here, he led all the prophets who came before him, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, in prayer. It was this incredible symbol of spiritual continuity that established Beit al-Maqdas as Islam's very first direction of prayer and its third holiest site.
When the Muslim army arrived in 636 AD, the Caliph, Omar ibn al-Khattab, entered the city peacefully. He then issued his famous covenant, which was a truly remarkable document for its time. It guaranteed the safety and the religious freedom of the city's Christians and Jews. This pact of tolerance became a defining part of Jerusalem's identity for centuries.
Now just compare that for a second to the arrival of the Crusaders in 1099. They sacked the city, massacred its people, and turned Al-Aqsa Mosque into a palace for their king. Nearly 100 years later, when Saladin Ayyubi reclaimed the city, his actions were the mirror opposite. He took Jerusalem with hardly any bloodshed, he purified and restored the mosque, and once again, he guaranteed safety for all faiths, following the example of Caliph Umar.
Okay, so this long, layered, complicated history brings us right up to the present, to an era where these ancient claims and prophecies are at the very heart of a volatile modern geopolitical crisis, from 1948 right up to this very moment.
This slide really simplifies the core of the modern conflict. For decades, there's been this delicate balance known as the status quo. As you can see right now, the compound is administered by an Islamic trust called the Waqf. The goal of the Third Temple movement, though, is to fundamentally change that. They want to transfer control to a Jewish authority and ultimately rebuild the temple, right where the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque currently stand.
This is the Third Temple controversy, and it is absolutely explosive. It's fueled by specific prophecies like the recent efforts to produce a red heifer, an animal some believe is needed for ritual purification before a new temple can be built. At the same time, extensive and very controversial tunnels are being dug right underneath the compound. This is raising huge alarms across the Muslim world about the safety of the mosques above. The stakes honestly could not be higher.
And why does it matter so much? It all comes down to this one number, 3.4 billion. That's nearly half of all humanity. That's how many Muslims, Christians, and Jews look to this one tiny hill as a sacred center of their spiritual world. Its fate isn't a local issue, it's a global one.
Which brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial question of all. In a place that has been defined by centuries of conflict, is a shared future even possible? One that honors everyone's past?
When you look at 4,000 years of history, at all these layers of faith built one right on top of the other, you just have to ask, is this hill destined to be a story of inevitable, endless division? Or is it something more? Is it a testament, maybe, to a shared, universal human search for a connection to the divine?
This small piece of land has profoundly shaped our collective past. What happens here next, whether it becomes a symbol of conflict or one of coexistence, will, in so many ways, define the future for every single one of us.